It all began with a decision she never wanted to make, a marriage arranged against her will. Her dreams were filled with ambition and independence, yet fate had other plans. Her parents insisted she marry a man they described as decent but poor, a simple mechanic who lived a modest life. To her, it felt like a punishment, a door closing on everything she had hoped for. She looked at the grease on his hands, the worn-out clothes, the humble workshop, and assumed she knew his story. But what she didn't realize was that behind those oil-stained hands was a heart of gold and a secret that would one day change everything. Life, after all, has a curious way of hiding its most extraordinary surprises in the most ordinary people. In the early days of their marriage, she could hardly hide her disappointment. Every time she saw him fixing engines or returning home with the smell of oil on his clothes, she felt trapped in a life she never wanted. To her, he was just a mechanic, someone ordinary, someone beneath her dreams. Society had taught her to measure worth by wealth, by status, by how grand one's life looked from the outside. And she, like so many of us, had fallen into that trap. She never stopped to notice his calm patience, his quiet strength, or the gentle way he treated everyone around him. She saw only what the world told her to see, not who he truly was. It's strange how easily we mistake simplicity for insignificance, until life reminds us that appearances can be the most misleading masks of all. As time passed, she began to notice things she had overlooked before: the quiet pride he took in his work, the way he spoke about honesty, and how he treated everyone, from a wealthy client to a street vendor, with the same respect. He never boasted, never complained, and never tried to prove himself. There was a calm dignity in the way he lived, as if he understood something deeper about life. What she didn't know was that his simplicity was not born from necessity, but from choice. He had chosen to live humbly, to stay grounded, to value people over possessions. Slowly, she began to see that true richness isn't found in luxury, but in humility and purpose. And in that realization, her perception of him and of life itself began to change in ways she could never have imagined. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. And somewhere along that quiet stretch of time, something began to shift between them. She started to see beyond his rough hands and worn clothes, noticing instead the warmth in his smile and the calm assurance in his words. He never tried to impress her, never demanded her affection. He simply cared in the most genuine ways. When she was upset, he listened. When life felt heavy, he carried more than his share without complaint. And with every small act of kindness, her heart softened. Love, she realized, wasn't about grand gestures or shining wealth. It was about feeling seen, safe, and valued. What once felt like a forced bond was slowly turning into a connection built on respect and sincerity. Without even knowing it, she had begun to fall in love with the man she never wanted to marry. Then one day, the truth unfolded in the most unexpected way. She overheard a conversation between her husband and a business associate, revealing that he was not just a mechanic. He was the owner of a successful chain of auto companies, a man who had quietly built his fortune through years of hard work and wisdom. She stood frozen, realizing the life she had underestimated was far greater than she could have imagined. But what struck her most wasn't the money. It was that he never used it to win her love or to impress anyone. He had wanted to be valued for who he was, not what he owned. In that moment, she felt both humbled and grateful, understanding that true wealth isn't hidden in bank accounts or luxury. It's found in character, integrity, and the quiet strength of a good heart. But from that day on, her heart carried a new kind of wisdom, one that no wealth or education could ever teach. She learned that life has a way of humbling us before it blesses us, that sometimes the people we overlook are the ones meant to change our lives the most. She no longer saw him as just a husband, but as a reminder that genuine love is built on respect, trust, and kindness. Together, they created a life rich in laughter, understanding, and peace, the kind of riches no fortune could ever buy. And when she looked back, she realized that being forced into that marriage was, in truth, life's greatest gift in disguise, because in choosing humility, she found love, and in loving him, she discovered that the greatest treasures are never worn, owned, or shown. They are simply felt.